not a test. This is rock and roll.
I wake up every morning in a bed that's too small, drive my daughter to a school that's too expensive, and then I go to work to a job for which I get paid too little.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
You're waking up with the Morning App on 90.5 WASU.
Good morning. We're back for our final week of the Morning App. It was a big weekend, a lot going on, and we're ready for a shortened week. Don't we have a reading day Thursday?
Yeah.
Yep.
Gosh, only 3 more classes. Dovy, you only have 1 more.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
We're done
Special.
Tuesday.
That's crazy.
Done on Tuesday. There's really, at this point, there's not really much that you can learn, you know. So I'll bet you a lot of classes are just there to wrap things up, turn things in.
Well, and a lot of professors, they'll kind of leave one day as like a buffer just in case they can't, like if they have to cancel for some reason, and then they'll kind of have a day at the end of just like in case they need it. And so a lot of times they'll be like, I don't know.
A lot of times in those cases, like, oh, we have an extra day? Yeah, let's throw more stuff at you. Absolutely. Because that's the case in a lot of my classes. They just keep throwing stuff at us, even if we're not tested on it. They just keep telling us to learn it. And I mean, like you said, if you don't know the stuff by now, you're probably not going to know it, which is my issue because I don't think I know it. But
well, at this point, we're just trying to cram as much information as we can in for all of the exams. So while that's good that they want to teach you more, like as much about the topic as possible, it's really kind of falling on deaf ears if we're like already cramming so much in, you know?
And see, the issue with us seniors graduating, not only do we have all the projects and all the tests and everything, but we also have to apply for stuff. We have to apply for jobs. We have to figure out where we're living. We have to figure out the next plan. And I know I hear a lot of people say, oh, if we're seniors, they should, be a little more lenient, maybe not as many projects. But at the same time, you have to take into account the other students that aren't going to be graduating. And it's still a class. They can't just tell us, oh, we're not going to do anything because we know y'all are busy trying to go into the real world. I think you still have to learn. I don't know your thoughts on that, but I feel like because we're still students, we're still obligated to do the work that they say. It doesn't matter if we're having to do the secondary stuff of applying for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but, like, everyone has other things most of the time, too. Like, a lot of people, even if they aren't seniors, have other jobs and stuff. So we can't say that we're necessarily more busy just because I don't know. You can't always say that. But
Yeah.
Well, I think seniors are more busy, though.
sometimes. I mean,
most seniors should be. You got to figure out what you're doing next. You got to apply for jobs. You got to go live. I would argue that every senior, not every senior, but the majority of the seniors, 75% of them are more busy than everybody else in terms of applications, living, stress, family, moving out, moving in.
I think it's all behind the scenes. I don't know if we really talk about it. We can feel it, because it's something you probably have to do. It's tricky. Like I tried to apply during the breaks, right? Like once I knew I wasn't going to be in school, I was like, that's the opportunity to apply.
yeah.
But also, like, I don't know, applying is almost a job in a way. It's not like you just do it one day. You also have to follow up, and you have to, like you said, write cover letters and all this stuff. So it's like, it's just tricky.
Yeah.
But so I would say, like, if you haven't found a job yet, I mean, like, that's fine. Like, you can. It's not like I feel like we're also in this clock mode where, you have a deadline to do your, sign up for classes, right?
Yeah.
You have a deadline to show up to class, or like, all this stuff. Like, once you're graduated, it's not like chronological anymore. You can get a job in like October. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like hard for us to wrap our head around that because it's like we have to have something before fall,
Yeah, and a lot of people will ask too. I think that's the worst part, is that people are like mildly judgy no matter what your answer is. And it's like, okay, but this is my life,
Oh yeah.
So that this is my timeline. Like if I want to take like a month or two off and not be working, then that's my thing,
Mm-hmm.
But
See, I think the worst part is, though, that you're taking all the time to send out those applications and write the cover letters and then not hearing anything back. Because I've sent out a lot of them. I'm not hearing anything back from these companies. Maybe they're still reviewing it. I don't know. But you're taking the time you're pouring your heart and soul into these letters, and then you don't hear back. You don't even hear congratulations for applying or, oh, we've moved in a different direction. It's just silent.
Yeah. It took me like 10 applications before I got my part-time job. So it's still, that's totally true. Like that's probably the most, it takes a lot of stamina to just keep applying and applying and applying and getting no's or not even. I think it's worse to not get anything than and I think it's more common to actually not get anything.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows how busy they are. Like, they don't even have the time to be like, yeah, I'm not going to even say no to this person,
Yeah.
So
It's just hard to figure out because you got to figure out where you're living next year too. You got to figure out what you're doing. You don't want to move back home potentially, or your parents will ask, "What have you been doing?" And I mean, I've been trying.
Have you seen that? Did I tell you about that game show? That's like
Game show?
It's a game show. I know it sounds like I'm going off topic, but there's a game show. I think it's called Paid Off, and it's supposed to air like May 13th. And it's a game show where instead of winning money, you pay off your student loans. Yeah, that's the kind of like era we're living in, where I think it is pretty common now, unfortunately, for like students to come home after school and have to like crash for a little bit before finding a job, because it is tough to just round all that up while you're in school. But yeah, I don't know. I think if I could give any advice to like a sophomore or a junior, is like figure out a way to like buy yourself just a little bit of extra time senior year. Like if you can figure out a way to have 4 classes, like maybe 12 credit hours instead of 15.
Oh yeah,
that would make a huge difference in saying like, well, then I can just take that extra those 3 credit hours I can just put into like finding a job, because it is a job to, in a way, to find a job. If you're unemployed, your one job is to kind of get a job,
Okay,
So,
good. I feel better about that because now, you know what, I have 4 classes and you have what, 2?
I mean, I only have 1.
Oh, you have 1 class?
So I had
good. I feel fantastic.
I had this whole semester to like prep pretty much everything you were saying, like where I was going to stay. And you're double major, right?
Yeah.
So dang.
I'm gonna chalk up me not having a job or even a part-time job to the fact that I'm taking 4 classes. And,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 2 full-time jobs, So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried because things aren't as linear outside of college. I think things are going to be way more cyclical.
Yeah.
You might graduate and somebody at graduation just be like, "Hey, I got an opportunity for you." I think it's just a matter of saying yes as much as you can.
I'll say yes to anything.
Yeah, just to get the skill, because that's the key, really.
Yeah.
It's just to get like some kind of experience, because the number one thing that keeps you from getting a job is experience.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be related to the thing you want to do. You just need some experience that's not like the coffee shop at the bookstore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's experience.
It's experience, but it ain't like, I don't know, man. It ain't like the big pants.
Well, but if you're going into like a specialty field, if you're going into something that would, I don't know, but also like coffee would have like customer service too, so there's not, so it would be experience, but yeah, it's good to get other experience. But I also think, at least senior year, it's really important to find things that make you happy, like to find little things as like, I don't know, like I know you watch Game of Thrones. Like I like to get really into shows. I'll get like obsessed with shows for like a small amount of time. But you watched it last night, right? Because a lot of people were freaking out about it.
Yeah. Well, I think every Game of Thrones fan knew that last night's episode was going to be something, it had to be crazy. There had to be a lot of deaths and stuff. I'm not going to spoil anything that happens, but it was like people related to the Helm's Deep fight in Lord of the Rings, where like, it's just there's no dialogue. It's just a straight up war, episode. Like basically you have everybody in Game of Thrones fighting off the White Walkers and stuff. And so it was a very emotionally draining, because if you're a Game of Thrones fan, anything is up for like anything is possible. And so they made it feel like just everyone was on a tightrope of life at this point, and everybody's kind of like very close to maybe getting killed off, and you don't know who's who's in what position, and the way it kind of just goes about is pretty jaw-dropping, and it was almost like Endgame. Like once it was done, you're kind of like, it's done. Like this is so weird. Where do we go from here? Oh yeah, I have no idea.
Still have a whole season.
Yeah, we still have 3 more episodes,
no.
but it was like an hour and a half long too. So just really draining. Morgan and I made a list of all of our favorite characters, and we crossed some out along the way. So if you do that, that's actually a pretty fun game.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you can make like a drinking game out of it or something.
Wait, how many episodes are left?
There's only 3.
It's only what, a 6-episode season?
Yeah, because
they're long though, I guess, right?
they're like an hour and a half each. Oh, they're starting to be. So they're all like it's like 6 movies per season, So, but the ones before were about an hour long, but these are like an hour, stretching an hour 30. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen mixed reactions so far that it was kind of a flop. It was kind of dark. It was kind of not all that it was cracked up to be. I don't know how you felt about it.
Dude, I thought it was good. Definitely not what I thought it was going to be like, but like in a good way. Man, I don't know how to really go about it without spoiling anything, but
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sure everyone wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it was scary, honestly. Like they did a good job making it feel like, I don't know. In Lord of the Rings, like, so I would compare it to like the Helm's Deep fight in Lord of the Rings. Like there's like moments, there's like glimpses of hope in there. But this one, it was just like, bro, I thought for a moment, I'm like, they're all gonna die.
No.
Like, they're all just gonna die this episode, and that's gonna be the twist. Like I was convinced.
No.
Because it was just really overwhelming, and I think they did a really good job, like playing mental tricks on you throughout the whole thing, and just, oh man. I can't say, but it was really good. It was really good. I liked it personally. I could see why people didn't like it. Maybe they wanted something more epic or something like that. But I thought that was a good level of where it needed to be.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, I'll have to catch back up. I only got 7 more seasons, I think, to go before I'm ready to
you only have
watch
like
the Battle of Winterfell.
700 hours.
Oh my gosh. Is that really how many hours?
Man, an hour a season, 10 episodes per season, so it'd be like 10 hours per season, so it'd be almost 8. Yeah, almost.
How did you do the math that
It was a big weekend with Endgame and Winterfell, but you're through it, Dovy. We're all through it. Here's AJR's new song, Don't Throw Out My Legos.
And now back to your favorite morning talk show, The Morning App, on 90.5 WASU.
So, welcome back to The Morning App. We've got some animal stories for you today.
Ooh.
Very exciting. But yeah, so I was looking at it this morning, and they found some fishermen in Norway. They found there's a whale, like a white beluga whale, I think.
Those are the best ones.
Okay, thank you for that comment. But
They are.
I mean, they kind of. It might be cool as well. I'm about to Google them.
the way you said it, that was sarcastic, like as if it was
Oh
weird
no,
that I was
I mean
being like,
it. The white
too
belugas are
descriptive.
cool.
Okay.
Beluga
okay.
whale.
They
Well,
look cool. Don't they have big foreheads?
cute. Yeah, they got.
They are
dude.
cute.
They got like 5 heads.
5 heads?
Look at these little smiles.
Yeah.
Aw.
Man, these things are so cute.
Yeah. Well, anyways, apparently the fishermen, like, there was a whale that was nudging their boats and, like, giving them a hard time. And it had a harness on it. And the harness said, where was it? It said it was equipment of St. Petersburg. And, like, they were doing some research into it. And they're thinking that it was, like, an older harness. So it had been a while. But Russia had just let a bunch of whales go that they had held in captivity, I guess. Because I think there were some people that were upset about them holding whales in captivity.
Especially the beluga.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one that they found, and so it was like probably the Navy is what people are saying, that we're training these whales to maybe, I think it was talking about guarding naval bases or just assisting deep water divers and stuff. So but also it says that they have done research over like whales in general as far as training them, and that the beluga whales are not as good at remembering commands and stuff, that they're just not, it said something
They are
about
whales.
professionalism or something.
They are belugas.
They're not like German shepherds.
No, but it said that dolphins and seals were way better at, like, I don't know, remembering things or something.
Yeah.
How vicious are belugas? I feel like
I
you
don't-
pick the cutest little whales and they're like, okay,
Yeah. But I
let's-
guess they've got big forehead. They're good at, like, nudging things, maybe.
Okay, but if they have no
You
violent
think, like,
temper or anything.
Are we talking about like the military still? Like, I mean, why do we need whales?
I don't
dude?
know.
We have drones.
They're trying to
but
find an edge, Dovy. Any
Like,
edge.
that's just is that where my taxpayer money's going? To train
don't-
a
Russia,
beluga?
yeah.
Yeah, to Russia.
Isn't it
No.
Russia?
Yeah, we're talking about Russia.
Oh, we're
here.
talking about Russia.
This is not, yeah.
Well, then that makes sense.
I
That would
mean-
probably be something I'd pay my taxpayer
America would
money.
probably pick like catfish or something. I don't know. Something
know.
that doesn't
Underwater
do as good of a
eagles or
job.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Oh.
something.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I guess they probably don't use them anymore, though, since this is, like, common knowledge. So
How
But-
are
They're onto us.
how are they gonna release them and then just leave the harness?
I don't know, because, see, there's a lot, the articles really aren't that clear, because I think it's still, like, pretty new news. And so I think they may be separate things. Some of the articles were saying that it was, like, the same thing. The wording was a little confusing. Not gonna lie, but yeah.
I just think if you're gonna train an aquatic animal, it should be a shark. It should be an actual giant whale, not one of the cute little
But
belugas
I
that
don't
can't
think
do
that
much.
sharks, like, based on at least what it's saying here, I don't know that sharks would be the best at,
Are they
like,
trainable?
yeah, I don't think they're as trainable. But it's like
We've
dolphins
given
and
them
seals, maybe?
lasers.
Laser.
Laser sharks underwater.
That's literally on the on Reddit. There's a bunch of comments on it, and someone was like, "I'm disappointed they don't have lasers."
Yeah, honestly.
The top comment.
Well, they're not gonna. They can only do so much with their forehead. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't know.
I think they're cute.
they
Yeah.
can.
I would
yeah,
not be
I
scared of
guess-
them at all.
Cuteness.
I'd be like, oh, look, it's nudging my boat.
Yeah.
It's trying to flip me over.
It did flip me over. Ah, now I can ride it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Why?
If
Oh
you
my.
have sharks, at least make it like a moat. You just put a bunch of sharks around what you're
shark moat?
guarding, or I don't know.
I feel like that could work, but you just have to. I don't know.
I feel like shark moats are very underrated.
Shark mode.
I don't know if that's ever been a thing. I know you see it in the movies all the time. I don't know if it's ever been a real thing in real life, but like a moat, like you have a circle of water surrounding what you care about, and you just put sharks in it.
Or like
Okay.
a shark pit that like opens up. You hit a button and then the trap door opens.
Well, that's a little.
And then somebody sits on a chair and the chair could fall, and it's like you get to explain your evil plans about what you were doing with the beluga whales.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got you now, Bond.
Well, from beluga whales, I have another animal that's actually helping out I guess the bad guys, if we're gonna call them that. This I don't know. Like I'm just thinking the beluga were like not us. I don't know.
Hold on.
Those dang
Well,
Russians.
it was during the war. So during the war,
Okay.
the Russians were the bad guys. Were
Yeah,
they
yeah,
not?
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we have this parrot that actually warned 2 drug dealers in Brazil that the police were coming.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
So apparently
True,
Snitches.
bro.
it was a green and white parrot, and it spotted the officers, and it squawked in Portuguese, "Mama, police!"
Aw.
And it tried to warn them.
Aw.
It didn't work
It
because
was too late.
yeah, the man and woman was still arrested, and the parrot was also arrested. The parrot is
Oh!
the parrot is
An
in
accomplice.
custody right now, and it will not speak. It has stopped talking
Oh,
completely.
it's trying to
It hasn't said a
get
word.
info. Dude, that is okay.
Like they're trying
I
to
mean,
get
that's
info.
not
That's
a bad, 'cause
loyalty.
if
That's
you
what I'm
think
saying.
about it, that's smart on the police's part. Because if the parrot did happen to slip up and like be echoing things that they've said,
Yeah.
they could get more evidence.
I mean, you think you could just go through their phones and stuff, but
Yeah.
but I guess
but
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, I don't
But
know.
it hasn't made a sound. So parrots.
Would that hold up in
not one.
court though? If something like you heard a parrot like echoing like part of their like the rest of the money is under the like I don't know
I-
the floorboards or something.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They can't get anything out of them. So
yeah.
the
yeah,
parrots.
but I'm just saying if the parrot did happen to talk, like even if the parrot revealed something,
I think it
that-
counts.
yeah, would it count though?
I
mean, would
I'd
that
use it
hold-
as evidence. I'd use anything. As a
But just
jury,
I'd
because
use it as a
you're
lead. I
not
don't
a
know.
lawyer, like
okay, because then think about it. If you're a member of the jury, what random parrot is just gonna say, "Oh yeah, the money is in my left
Well,
sock, hidden in my
What
drawer."
if we watch? What if we watch a bunch of movies together? You know, the parrot's like, winter's coming. You know, I don't know.
yeah,
Like, what are they
yeah,
gonna?
it could say yeah
Well,
anything.
then we know that's fake.
You know. But like if he watches like Ocean's 11, for example.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
and then he was
put
like,
the money in the bag. I don't know. You'd probably be like,
But
Yeah.
it's got to be very specific to find this money. It's got to be
True.
under a compartment or so. I don't know. It's just, I would
But
trust it.
I just
depending
I
on what
think
he
that's
said.
okay.
If
an
it
awesome
squawks
parrot.
winter is coming, I'm not trusting it.
Oh.
Well,
If
what
it squawks
well, I mean,
don't
like,
spoil the end game, I'm not trusting it.
Imagine.
Don't spoil the end game.
But so we have 2 animals here. This parrot's the real champ. Really, they trained it well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with it. But
Animals, they're really smart actually.
Don't
They-
underestimate.
No, they're cute too. Aw.
Cute little accomplices.
that's what we all hope they grow up to be.
Aw.
Moving on and getting over by John Mayer here on the Morning App.
The Morning App on 90.5 WASU and WASUradio.com.
It's Would You Rather time here on the Morning App. I got a good one for you. So I came across it with it being a big weekend that it was. Marvel's Endgame and Game of Thrones, Battle of Winterfell. I had a friend that loved both, but he sat there and he said in a Would You Rather situation, he would rather know the ending of Game of Thrones and not know the ending of Marvel's Endgame. So my question to you is, would you rather see the ending of Marvel's Endgame and not know how Game of Thrones ends, or know how Game of Thrones ends but not know how Marvel's Endgame? You don't know any of the Marvel endings after Infinity War. You don't know how it ends, you don't know how it goes. But you do know Game of Thrones.
This is only a Dovy question.
Yeah, it is, because for us, I'm thinking Endgame. I was shocked.
Well,
that
yeah.
My friends all took Game of Thrones.
Really?
A lot of my friends that watch Game of Thrones and
Well-
Marvel together said that they take Game of Thrones every single time.
Man, it's the same amount of prep time. If you think about it,
Yeah.
they're both like 10 years in the making.
Oh gosh.
You're right. So that's why, like, my friends literally, they use some harsh words. They said they don't give two, whatever's about Marvel. They said I would every single time pick Game of Thrones.
I would.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
You've got interesting friends.
There's a book.
You know a lot of them.
You got it.
Oh no. Oh no.
You got the book for Game of Thrones.
They said that, okay, they also told me that the book is only up to, like, season
It's
3
true.
or something, yeah. And I'm
But
like, just wait for it. But
I think that the book is going to have a different ending than the show. Like, I think they're going to be completely different.
Is the author of the book, does he write the episodes at all, or
He
like
should
have
be
any?
involved, yeah. I don't know.
So then, you know what I mean? Does he
Yeah.
have a say in the ending, or can they like go their own
Or are they
direction?
doing their own thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
Joe,
what I'm
we're-
saying. I pick. So here's the thing. I love both. I'm gonna pick the Avengers.
That's right, you will.
Hands
Yeah.
down.
Oh, see, they said it the opposite.
Hands down. Because I think we'll get the book and it'll be the true vision of the author.
Yeah.
But you
yeah,
have
there you go.
you have the Marvel comics.
Yeah, but
They're
the
nothing like it.
cinematic experience is like a once in a lifetime kind of movie
Yeah.
history deal.
Some would say the same for
Say
Game
same-
of Thrones.
It's pretty. It's not. It's pretty. It's pretty good, but it's not at the scale of the Avengers Endgame. I mean, dude, this movie's gonna be like. Actually, I wonder what the box office was for just the weekend.
It was well, I mean, it's already blown the records, like a lot of them. It was like 350 million, I think.
Million or
plus?
billion? It was
Million.
Thought it was billions.
1 billion something worldwide. But at least in the US,
Hit the B word already.
yeah, just opening weekend. But it's like it's already they're saying that it could overtake Avatar. That it's looking like it could.
How does it not?
That's
Yeah,
what
I don't
I'm
understand.
Who
how
cares about
Avatar-
Avatar?
I still have never
I
seen
still
it.
have no idea why it was
You
such a.
haven't seen it?
It makes
No.
me
You
should see it. I
so
was
mad,
it.
dude. Like,
Yeah.
what was
I
the
don't know.
big deal? I mean, again, I
Let
know
me
like
see if I
the
can find
The
CGI.
visuals. I
But like,
I
dude,
feel like we've seen the
it's
visuals in other stuff.
Pocahontas with extra CGI. It's just.
I swear we've seen those type of visuals in other movies too, correct? Have we not? Avatar wasn't the
Yes.
first
Since
one
then,
with all the
yes.
different.
It was. I'm like. Dude,
Okay.
I'm salty about that, man. I don't understand.
Yeah, it says it opened to 350 million in North America
What did Avatar
and
do?
859 million overseas, and then so that makes it combined 1.2 billion, including 330.5 million in China and 56 million in the UK. All are records and then some. And let's see if it says anything about Avatar. in this
Avatar
article.
worldwide, from what I'm looking at, was 2,787,000,000.
I don't
That's
know.
what I have here on
man,
my Google.
The only reason I saw Avatar is because I felt like the people that I knew were like, "You gotta see this. This is a big deal." Like everybody was just saying it was a big deal, and it was just like word of mouth. Everybody started
Yeah.
buying tickets for it, and then I saw it, and I was like, "This is pretty neat." But I wasn't thinking about it the next day or wanting
When-
to see it
Okay.
a second
When
time.
did Avatar come out?
2009,
Oh.
I think.
Jeez, y'all, we got to get this thing off
So
that list.
I actually, I'm on the box
Yeah.
office records like website,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Right now, the record for opening weekend goes to Avengers Endgame. The opening weekend worldwide record goes to Endgame, and the opening weekend foreign goes to Endgame.
Yeah, it's what they're trying to break. Like what Avatar has is the highest grossing movie.
Like
Overall
yeah,
record,
like
which is
by the time it ends,
2 billion.
yeah.
It's 2,787,000,000 and some change. And right now, the worldwide opening weekend for Endgame is 1,209,000,000.
Well, yeah.
And maybe I'm doing my zeros wrong, but
I
that looks
don't
like a
know, yeah,
billion.
I just always thought it was weird. I was like, dude, okay,
No,
Titanic I
it is.
get, because Titanic was dope. Titanic was
And
off
it
the
also,
chain.
yeah, it was.
I didn't even see Titanic on here.
It made me
but-
cry as a kid. I was like, I love this movie.
Titanic also was something for its time. It did a lot. Like
Yeah.
people were
People
genuinely shocked.
impressed. This one was like,
Yeah.
forget it. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I would pick Avengers over Game of Thrones.
We're back to the-
It would be hard. It would be tough, but I would still pick it because I think I just have more of a sentimental connection
Yeah.
to the Marvel stuff.
Now, Katie, what would you do? Would you, not Game of Thrones, would you rather, I'm guessing I know your answer, would you rather see the ending of Marvel's Endgame and not know the ending of any more Star Wars movies, or, vice versa? You see all the ending of Star Wars. Dovy, you're out of this. Don't even try and talk. We know
you
your
don't
feelings.
need to
Don't
see
even
the
try
ending.
it.
It all ends the same.
Don't-
They
don't
blow
even-
something up in the end and they celebrate,
Get out of here, Dovy. Katie?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a toughie.
I don't know, so what you're saying is that I wouldn't be able to watch any more Star Wars movies?
Yep, you would not get to see this next Star Wars movie coming up. You see Endgame.
But
you're-
so would it just be this next movie coming up, or like if they did another installment, if they did prequel movies,
I'd go-
if they did?
I'd go both. I don't think you get to see, because Game of Thrones, you don't get to see how Game of Thrones ends if you pick
But that's
Avengers.
not an ending. It's like a prequel.
What's a prequel? Like,
So what I'm saying is, would I just not get to see the ending of this Star Wars trilogy that they've got going on now, or would I also not be able to see, let's say, like the Mandalorian? I think
Yeah.
is coming out. Would I not
Yeah.
be able to see that too?
I guess
or?
Dovy, you think it'd just be fair to make her not see this next one?
Just a finale.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Because
final episode.
then are you
Sa-
also saying that
saga.
I wouldn't be able to watch any Marvel movies if I chose Star Wars?
Well, you don't get to see how Endgame ends, so I'd like to think that.
You wouldn't be able to see
Right.
any
It's
more.
just the final
Okay.
film.
Okay, well, I want to see
that
the
just-
more
that's just
Marvel
cruel.
movies, but I don't know. That's a
You
hard.
just never know what happens to Rey or Palpatine or Finn
If I don't know
or Luke.
why.
Or Han Solo.
Get
Are
out
no
of here,
one's ever
Dovy.
really gone. Didn't you remember that from the trailer?
Yes.
Like they had the Palpatine laugh, and I was like,
Maybe
oh
they'll
my
go.
god.
I don't know. I mean, I think I'd choose. See, I think I'd choose Marvel, but just
Yeah.
because if it was maybe the original Star Wars trilogy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, if I hadn't seen the ending of the original, I don't know. It's just yeah. And who knows where they're gonna I think Marvel shows more promise as far as future movies. I think that's really what the point is. Like if I can't watch any more Star Wars movies, then that wouldn't kill me. Because right now it's
You
I
never
mean-
get to see the end of the saga, the Skywalker saga, Katie.
I think that'd be okay.
Oh, okay.
It'd be sad, but I would be more okay. Especially given that I just don't think that, especially the last movie in this trilogy, in the Star Wars trilogy, I don't think it's gonna have the same I guess cultural impact as Endgame has, where everyone's talking about it and I don't know.
Well, you also know they're gonna make more Star Wars movies,
You also know they're gonna make more Marvel movies.
but they're
Yeah.
not gonna make another Endgame.
Yeah.
No,
It's gonna culminate to a whole nother Avengers.
It
in-
won't be like
10
the
years or
first
so.
Yeah,
time,
true.
It won't. This is like the
Oh my
first
gosh!
moment.
In 10 years we'll be in our 30s.
Yeah, just
and-
think. I mean, we may fall in love with these Marvel characters even more, and then 10 years down the line, have them all again in another Avengers movie fighting another big bad.
Yeah, well, there's enough heroes to make it fresh, though.
Mhm.
I don't know about with Star Wars. They have a tough time making new things, like new characters and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It feels almost like, okay, like Rey is Luke.
Well,
you
in
know,
some
this
ways, I like
BB-8's R2D2. It's like it's just copy and paste.
I like that they have done some parallels with the Star Wars movies. We've gotten off, yeah, but
The ultimate
they
debate.
have relied way too heavily on
The past.
yes.
But that's also because that's our fault, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
'cause
we don't
they-
like dude.
Yeah,
we
it's
don't
your
like
fault,
the
Dovy.
we don't like because of. I mean, I think there's some charm in the prequels now after the memes have been coming out.
Yes,
I enjoy
yeah.
I
the
like
prequels.
that they're different.
Mhm.
That's probably my favorite part about it. Like I wish,
they
man.
have a very different tone.
Where did pod racing go?
yes.
I don't know, because
Why
it
was
was
it
pretty
pod-
fantastic.
I feel like in the Last Jedi, that should have been the you know the little like animal race that they
Yeah.
were against or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
That
yeah.
stupid political thing that they were doing in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
That should have been pod racing, dude.
I mean, times change.
yeah,
We have horse racing now. What if that's gone in 20 to 30 years? Horse racing
just
could be our
have
pod
robot
racing.
horse racing where
Exactly,
you
but
program
exactly. It
your
could
horses.
be different.
I don't know. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
But
How did we went the
So
whole
she's
segment
going with Marvel
one would
instead
you
of-
rather basically.
yeah, so you're going with Marvel instead of Star Wars,
yeah.
like the end game
Yeah,
instead of
and
the
you're- so
finale.
I mean,
So-
I figured we'd all take Marvel, but I think it'd be interesting to hear from the
Like-
Game of Thrones people because again, they use some strong
Yeah.
words saying that they don't care about Endgame.
I
They
don't blame
just
'em.
need to know what happens in Game of Thrones.
I don't blame him because I feel like you have more time to connect to all these characters. But I don't know. It's still the same thing with Marvel.
Hmm.
It's like
Wow.
it's either or.
It's a tough decision. The strong words. Like I wish they had battled with it, but instead they just kind of said absolutely not Game of Thrones all the way. Like it wasn't even hard for them.
Oh my.
Mm-mm. You'll be in my heart here on the morning app.
And now back to the morning app on 90.5 WASU.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
It's relationship time here on the morning app, and with all of us graduating, some of us have relationships or whatnot, but we're talking about relationships in general, friends, significant others, all of it. What's going to happen after college? Because it's going to be a totally different experience. You're not going to see your friends every day. You're not going to see new classmates. You're not going to have those group projects that you're forced into. Oh, I don't know how it's going to be other than you might just be with by yourself. Like it might just
Your
be
cats.
You might just be by yourself a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Are you? I feel like you're talking directly to me as I'm
No,
the only single.
It's going to be us too, because even though Dovy's dating someone, I'm dating someone, it's still just going to be us, our significant other, and whatever friends happen to live in the city that we live in.
Yeah.
But even then, you still have a full-time job. You still have, you don't have all these social outings such as Ale House or Portos. You don't have those anymore. No
You can't just
local
walk to
Thursdays
Chick-fil-A.
anymore.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people, once they move to a new area, they'll download not necessarily like Tinder or one of the dating apps, but there's a couple like friendship-oriented ones where you can find people to just hang out with, which sounds like
Sketchy.
I guess, but apparently people have found friends that way.
Yeah, but what if it's sketchy?
I don't know.
group?
You just gotta
It's a risk you've got to take, I guess.
You gotta try and meet new people outside of work. I mean, maybe you'll meet your
You'll
work
meet people at work,
but
right.
maybe at the gym, maybe at the YMCA, maybe a cooking class. I don't know.
Yeah.
The local
you could
hobby
defi-
store.
Yeah, bond
Crafting,
over
Michael's.
the glasses in Hobby Lobby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think I
D&D.
guess it really depends on the area because
You got bars.
if it was a city, then it might be. I don't know. Would that be easier or harder though?
The
'Cause
city?
there'd be
I feel like it's way
so many
easier.
people.
I feel like it's easier in the city. You could just go to a bar one night and try and talk to a random person or
Yeah,
couple
but
or
Also, in a small town, I think everybody's more connected. Like,
Mhm.
or just more open to,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because they're all bored.
because there's no,
They're like new people.
Yeah.
got- you
come
got-
welcome.
you got so much to do in a big city,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you're going to a
It's-
new city, Dovy.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking
big
about
one.
that a lot. I mean, I was just trying to see, like, I don't know, maybe what kind of classes can I take on my own free time or I mean, I was looking at gyms that are more specific, like specifically, like, I don't know, I wanted to take like kickboxing or jujitsu or like some kind of different, something more specific so that people there have that thing all in common.
Gosh, I'm
You
just
know.
picturing Dovy knowing like jujitsu or kickboxing, just coming like someone trying to mug you on the street and you're just whatever they teach
Cobra
you,
Kai.
whatever
wearing,
it
like,
is. Wearing
no
that
mercy.
colored hat of yours, just everyone's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you're like, oh, don't take my money, and then bam.
Yeah.
Because he'll have a bunch of friends then.
Well-
His little posse.
Hey man, you win 100% of the fights that you don't start.
Wait, what?
So that's
that's
full.
not accurate.
You win.
that you-
Hold on. You win.
Well, if
100% of the fights.
you win 100% of the fights that you can keep from happening.
Yeah, that you aren't a
That's
part
what I
of.
meant to say.
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause
okay.
you could not start the fight, Dovy, and you still may lose.
True.
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah.
I mean, then it's
I don't like your odds if
100%
you're not
failure
starting
for
the
me
fight.
actually at this point.
Oh
but
yeah. True. True.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you just look at. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think people in general get more introverted over time. That's a fact. Like as you get older, you start caring a little less actually about being in these big groups. You start wanting like more smaller social groups and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why Morgan and I wanted an apartment with like another bedroom so we can have friends come to visit us. And sometimes it's easier to make friends when you have friends with you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you're in a
Because if
larger
you're-
group, yeah.
If you're by yourself, it can be a little more like you don't feel like you don't feel as comfortable, in that space. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, because college was different. We came here not really knowing, like, at least I didn't really know anyone. But everyone was trying to make new friends.
And you had
Mhm.
clubs, and you
Yep.
had specific
Yep.
organizations.
It's like almost a common. It's like etiquette to constantly try to meet people here.
Yeah, and like
Just,
introduce yourself
like,
all the time.
When you come here, everybody's like, make sure you talk to everybody, get to know everybody. Like, we just learned how to do that from day one, just trying to say yes to going out and if people invite you.
It's harder though outside of college to ask people questions. It's like, so what do you do?
You got to relearn.
Because there's not the obvious questions that you can ask.
What's your major?
Yeah.
You're not getting that
What
question
year are
anymore
you?
once you graduate. They're gonna be like, oh, what's your specialty in this corporation? Double major, electronic media, broadcasting.
I'm really excited to not have that conversation anymore.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about other things than just people being like, oh, you go to Appalachian? Okay, what's your major? And you're like, I got to do this conversation again,
Yeah.
I'm excited to tell them that I'm unemployed. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, you want a
I
job?
can relate. Who can relate?
There you go.
But I don't know. I think Katie, it'll definitely be different for you. Like I said, we're dating someone. I know you're not right now, but you could be potentially going to a city where you don't know anybody at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in that kind of situation, I would have to tell myself that I'm just going to have to put myself out there. Like, going to have to go try to meet people. And I'd probably, honestly, if I went somewhere that I was, like, far away for some reason and I didn't know anyone, I'd most definitely get a dog, I think, or some kind of animal just to have, like, a constant in my life, I think.
That's one way to meet people, too. You just walk your dog down the street. You probably make more friends than you'll ever make in your entire life.
True.
Other people with, dogs and just have a little dog play date.
Everybody wants a friend with a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an investment for you and for your social life.
Yeah. But it's just, at least it would give me something to do. It's like, okay, something to take care of.
Yeah.
And so I think, that would definitely be, I'd have to get
That's
a dog.
the move.
I want a dog anyways so badly.
Yeah,
but
now
I've
you're
been
just telling
trying.
yourself that.
No, but I've been really wanting to get one, but since it's all up in the air right now where I'm going, I want to be somewhere permanent, at least like somewhere that I know I'm going to be for a decent little while before I get a dog. So I'm not trying to uproot this dog and involve the dog in the moving process or worry about even getting an apartment with, like, having to have it pet friendly, worst case. If I couldn't, then it wouldn't be the end of the world, but.
Yeah, I think a dog would be cool to get later on, especially to make friends. I'm telling you, that's the surefire way to work. Don't get a cat. Don't get any other bird, especially birds that are going to rat you out or rat out other people. But the dog's the easiest way to go because so many people are going to come up and you just introduce yourself, get your name out there.
And you can
like,
be
"Hi, how are ya?"
comfortable being alone when you have a dog.
Yeah.
And people are more likely to be cool with you if you're just doing your own thing. You're comfortable being by yourself.
I do think it's very underrated. I think every single person in this world should have a significant amount of time where it's just you.
No
and
distractions.
You're living with yourself, and that's it. Because I had that a couple summers ago where it was literally, I lived with my sister, but she was, gone some of the time, and it was literally just me, myself, and I. Like, nothing else. It was just whatever I wanted to do, like living without talking to anybody physically in person.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very underrated. I think everyone should go through it just to know, I guess, whether or not you like it or not, whether or not you can deal with it, whether you can handle it, whether maybe you like it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, if you graduate, and you're not going out as much, you don't have, you feel like your friends are far away. Honestly, I just, like you said, saying right now, try to take in that alone time and try to see how you like it, because you might find out that alone time is really good. If you're somebody who's always around people all the time, then that is probably not the best thing. Like, we all need some alone time.
Mm-hmm.
So use that as an opportunity. And then, honestly, I think friends just come naturally, like, through proximity or whatever.
Yeah.
People want to have people around them.
Yeah.
It'll come. Just put yourself out there and don't be afraid of rejection, because trust me, I'm not afraid of rejection anymore after applying for all these jobs. I'm ready. I'm good now. Hope we're helping you out as you make the transition for you seniors out of college. But we got one more show. That's Wednesday, and we'll be back for the final morning app.